as we define the future of SIU. So as we get started this morning, we're delighted to have a wonderful panel. Some of them I'm meeting for the first time, some of them I'm seeing for a second time, but I can tell you that we're very proud to have a panel of SIU alumni to kick off this event. I also want to thank the School of Business for being a part of the initiative. Thank you very much for your leadership, Sarah Colvin. Thank you very much for your leadership and partnering with us on today. So with that, I will conclude and say welcome again. We're looking forward to engaging you throughout the day, and I look forward to the work ahead. Thank you very much.
Morning, everyone. My name is Miguel, and so I'm super excited for you all attending. I hope you all had a fantastic breakfast. And so to kick it off, I mean, it's really exciting in terms of what SIU is doing in terms of the school of business and how engaged we are to really bring diverse thought into it and into the business world. And so by all means, I'm super excited. And Lori and panelists, by all means, we are super excited to know about you. So.
Definitely, I have to share my experience with them. But we're so glad to join you today. I'm so excited that we really know to coming and about this. I've been here a long time. This is my 30th school year, and my family is 4 generations. So it's very, very important to me. I think a lot about it. And I'm so lucky to get to share the moment, to have that impact, to get to watch them grow. It's really great to have to feel back today. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I'm going to Jonathan first. A funny story. We were looking to see if the bio came, and I searched my email, and I was talking 10 years ago, which is exactly about the same thing. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Alvarez. I graduated from SIU in 2016 with a CMIS degree. I am also the first one in my family to go to college. So I have a very, very deep love for SIU in this regard. I started in technology and worked my way into change management. I say that because I started on the CMIS degree, and at the end of the day, I've been able to utilize that degree in various capacities, from being a developer to being in marketing to being in change management, and now I hold a operations role for venture consulting. So I'm heavily involved with the consulting firm right now, but excited to be here. Good morning. I'm Adrienne Dawson, and I graduated in 2001. I just reminded myself and just recall that I am, my parents actually graduated from SIU, and I remember I am a twin. And so I remember my parents going to night school because they went to college later in life. And we sat out, my sister and I sat out in the hallway, or the professor would let us come into the classroom and sit at the desk in color while our parents were taking classes. So I work for Merck KGaA in Darmstadt, Germany. I've been with the organization for 28 years. We use our business names in the US and Canada, known for Sigma, which is our life science business, B&B Serrano, which is our healthcare business, and B&B Electronics, which is our electronics business. I've held various roles in the organization, from starting an entry-level position in terms of distribution, working in HR, moving to a commercial role, and leading a contact center for North America. And then last year in October, I pivoted to make what I was doing as a passion for the organization in terms of D&I work, to taking on a full kind of role as head of D&I for North American supporting that. So I'm excited to be here with you today.
Good morning, everyone. Let's make sure it's on. Good morning, everyone. Jimmy Howlett. I am with US Bank. You may have heard of this, but so I'm with the Community Development Corporation at US Bank. So my job is overseeing ideation as it relates to delivering access to equitable capital in underserved markets. Primarily Black and Brown-led organizations that specifically have problems getting access to financing. I graduated from SIU in '06 with a bachelor's in business administration with a specialization in marketing. And shout out to the SOAR program. Dr. Patterson is here, so please wave your hand. So kind of a funny story. So 16 years ago, it was called Special Services. So we were actually, so Special Services was a group of Black men that were identified, we were incoming freshmen, and this is Pete, Dr. P, and her staff made sure that we had everything that we need to succeed when we're entering this world that we don't know what we're getting into. And it really helped us out. There's a lot of people that you look up 15 years later, and because of the strategies, the structures, and things that Dr. P and her team actually put us in place with, we are success in showing that now. So she instilled diversity and a lot of different things in us at a very early age. So for me, on my mother's side, I was basically the first one to graduate from college. So SIU is very impactful for me. Especially this room is impactful because we used to have some amazing parties. But glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So we're gonna start out with, why does diversity matter so much? Everyone go first. Diversity matters. That's a big question. Because we're all different. There is different perspectives in this room, whether you're a student or you graduated, whether you're full leadership or FIU. It's important for us to bring those perspectives in everything we do, whether it's business or just help employee experience. I would say that's my secret sauce in what I do for organizations, is providing that really, really good unmatched employee experience. But in order to do so, we need to have an open mind to accept those different perspectives. When it comes to diversity, because the person next to you is different, the person in the room across from you is different. And it's important to consider that when going about any business initiative, and from those perspectives, only will be better.
Yes, I would agree. It really is very critical for an organization to succeed in terms of how they ensure that they are retaining and recruiting the best candidates as possible. Thinking about also in terms of how they achieve their revenue targets and goals, and show that organizations that have a more diverse leadership do better in terms of revenue. I think it's equally important to call out that in decision specifically for a for-profit company that I work for, it's really important for us to be representative of the customers and communities in which we serve. Our customers are demanding more and more of us, more and more of us in terms of ensuring that we hold the same values, that we are working with them in terms of the same aspirations in terms of diversity and inclusion. So to be competitive and to continue to grow, we need diversity and inclusion. So diversity is about counting the numbers of people in the room, which have to be inclusive of their perspectives and thoughts, and allowing them an opportunity to be part of decisions. So it's just really critical in terms of just being a competitor in the marketplace.
Yeah, I agree with both of the aforementioned statements. I think also in addition to that, supplier diversity within the workplace definitely drives the results. When companies do work or partner with organizations that all have the same ideas, not everything just stays flat and constant. So when you start actually partnering with minority vendors to actually bring you the supplies that you need to actually run your business, you actually start getting maybe differences on pricing, or you get introduced some other relationships. And a lot of companies now are adopting what's called this ESG strategy, environmental, social, and governance, and that's fueling diversity, equity, and inclusion within the workplace. So, like she said, driving results in business, and especially within the workplace. I've been in a corporation where there was no DEI strategy, and being at a corporation now that talks about it every single day, you can definitely see it within your peers. You can definitely see it within your own performance, to where you'll just want to just do more. And so for me, that's why it's important, because it's impactful to the work that you're going to do, not only for yourself, but also as you partner with others.
How would that student families like that? How would you encourage them to prepare themselves to be with them? So I think one of the things that, you need to think about is, does the company represent or hold the same values that you hold? So investigate their websites, go to career fairs, look at their social media, all companies have some social media, and really examine, are they communicating and sharing the same values that you hold? Many companies are working towards ensuring that they are communicating the value proposition of what they have to offer. And diversity and inclusion is important. So if that is important to you, make sure that you are looking at companies that share those same values. Also, you need to understand, in terms of, particularly I work for a global organization, and you just need to be prepared to be open to collaborating and working with those that may come from different nationalities, different backgrounds, different abilities. Something to make sure that you understand that as well. So I think doing work and doing your research, and if there's an offer of any kind of training here, to be able to prepare yourself to what that might look like within that organization, and ask the questions of the recruiters, right? What is it like to work in this organization? So that's your comment.
Yeah, I would say in addition to that, I would also say just general networking. Just general networking and getting out and meeting, not even necessarily the meeting with companies that you are interested in actually applying for or connecting to, but also take a look at maybe some of the executives within the company, some of the things that they're involved in as far as the community and things of that nature. So you'll actually run across a lot of diverse audiences with volunteer work and community involvement. And that's something that's going to be very big on the resumes as you start navigating and entering corporate America. So I would say networking is one, because kind of like what she said, on career fairs, you're going to meet so many different people that have different backgrounds, different cultures, different ethnicities, that can actually add to your feathers in your hat, that are going to just make you a stronger candidate. In addition, with obviously doing the research on the company, because I think all three of us up here will say, if there isn't a DEI strategy that is promoted on the website, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to hear about it when you retire.
100%. And while you're doing your research, make sure you ask those questions of your interview. What is your DEI strategy? What do you have to offer to me? And if they don't have a good answer, you probably don't want to work there. In terms of networking, there are several groups out there, even in the local areas, to look up on meetups or Eventbrite. There are groups to meet on a regular basis. And it's not just in person right now, there's virtual opportunities as well. So make sure you're taking advantage of those opportunities. The other thing I'll say is that as you graduate, get comfortable with who you are and know how you work best. Because if you can communicate that no matter where you go, it's going to help you more inclusive, it's going to keep you more open, but the communication is key. So as long as you know where and how you work best, and you can communicate up to your peers, regardless of what nationality they are, regardless of what their background is, you'll be able to succeed in that space. Well, and and how do you know what?
Yeah, so I remember those classes when we were in school, and they were the ones that I chose. Why, doing this, want to do it on my own, I can get it done. I can't tell you how many teams I'm involved in terms of working on specific initiatives or projects. We do it all the time. There is rarely an occasion where I am, delivering something solo, right? So, you're trying to do big things, and especially as a leader, you're trying to do big things, and you need a team of people. And one of the things is that, I have recognized, and as part of my leadership, is I'm not an expert at everything. There are people who are better than me in certain aspects. And so you need to understand how can you tap into those talents, among your team members, among your staff, to be able to help you to achieve the county goal. So, it's really critical. I know it's painful sometimes, it really is, it can be. But you just have to work through it. And then how do you deliver, how do you, achieve some of the, work through some of the challenges, it's really understanding how you communicate and making sure that you're clear in expectations.
Laura, is it still called GDA 300?
Oh, no, that's.
No, okay, so, be glad. There was this, GBA, okay, so for students in the School of Business, GBA 300 is probably one of the reasons why I have no hair now. No, but like, internal partnering was something that, internal partnering and teamwork was, collaboration was something that I learned at my second company, at UNB, and not that I've had a lot of employees, I've only been 4. But yeah, I would say that teamwork, collaboration have helped me get to where I am in my career. But not only necessarily internal as far as like external, like partnering with some of the organizations and individuals that you will meet as you go out there networking. There's ways that you can partner with them where it may just be a mentor, mentee type of situation. Over the years for my clients, I can't tell you how many that I've actually adopted as a mentor and just started being a sponge. I would be there actually to take care of their needs, but I would magically pivot to, let's talk about me, but it helped. So it helped me to adopt this collaboration, strength that I have now, to where all I do is, I've been at US Bank for 5 months, and they immediately saw that I was a collaborator. Like, I just wanted to know everybody's job and how I can basically help them out, because it would come back reciprocated. And so when you do that, it just makes your life a lot easier when you work in teams. And again, we all know everybody on the team isn't going to be, giving you the effort that you will, but in the corporate world, as you navigate this space, you're going to find out that really internal partnering and teamwork is really going to take you very far.
Yeah, I agree. And if you see yourself being very siloed within group settings, there's not an opportunity to actually feedback or engage in that you work close with. Because if you're in siloed groups, it really doesn't impact the business as well. It's not just impacting you as a person, but there's probably a good idea there because the effort there. And I've seen that in action, and it's not fun. And it takes more work to correct all of that, and it's just collaborating at the very beginning. In terms of mentoring or finding opportunities, network with those on your table right now. Don't let someone walk away with a new introduction and new connection, because you never know what is happening that way in the future. That's one of the things I've also noticed in my career after graduating is these events that actually help me get that. These events that actually help me meet my mentors that I still have to this day. And it's really the future of my career. Now, if you're the person who always has the point, that's fine. Different goal. Because it'll have to grow. So I want to talk about mentors specifically. So how important are mentors? How do you find mentors? Should I mention if you like to? Should I pick one from there? Wherever you want to go.
For me, networking is how I found my mentors and just navigating the workplace. There were positions that I wanted to, or lines of business that I wanted to get into within the banking industry, and I didn't know how to break in there. Which, unfortunately is one of those barriers with the diversity, equity, inclusion that we talk about within the workplace. So not knowing how to break down those walls, everybody's going to need a mentor, especially within navigating the workplace. So I basically went into line of business heads and just basically said, hey, I want to learn about this business line and see how I can actually, just show up. So I just started sitting in their meetings, and I wasn't supposed to be there as a branch manager, but I'm glad it was one of the best things that I could have ever done, because some of those lenders in there took me under their wing and actually started mentoring me because they knew I wanted to learn. And so just rinse and repeat over the years, I've just adopted different mentors. Mentors will land in your lap just through conversation. They will pick up the fact that you have this vision, and they lock on to that. And there's a few folks that I mentor because I can see that they have a passion for wanting to break into banking and finance. So when you lock on to someone that can see your passion, you'll get a mentor, no problem. But even just looking forward, having a school of business right at your tables, even at career fairs, there's so many different avenues that you can tap into as far as picking up a mentor.
And my biggest advice is say, be comfortable and really comfortable. I know for me, when I was the first one to graduate, I went to college. I didn't really know anyone that could be that supplemental support for me. And so I just started with something that I thought I was able. I was just attending meetings with slowly but surely I was recognizing with folks that were similar and also different to me. I think when it comes to mentors, you need to be open to both. Finding folks that are similar to you, it's amazing having someone as a sounding board, someone that knows you and understands you because it's too. However, I'm excited about it. It's super beneficial having someone that's completely different because they're going to think about things differently. They're going to use suggestions and put you in perspective that you may have never thought about. And honestly, those that think different from you are going to push you out of your comfort zone and help you grow to become a better leader or just be better in your space. The other advice I'll give you is as you start meeting your mentors, give back. There are other folks and students on campus or folks that you see on your teams or when you meet more people at your work that are going to need that support. So while you're also students, also people that
Yeah, thank you for that, and that's so critical, in terms of just being exposed to different types of mentors, who can offer you insight on different areas, right? So don't just think about some of the things you want to develop, some of the gaps that you're looking to try and close, and try and identify different mentors. I have different mentors with different needs. Some of them are formal, some of them are informal. That's critical looking at the diversity, and it's really important. And I agree, giving back. I find fulfillment in being a mentor for someone. It helps to, I'm very passionate about seeing people succeed and develop, and I celebrate their wins and successes, and that really fills me up. But it helps to continue to develop my skills as well, being a mentor. So think about just those different aspects.
I think with Jim in this room, there's some obstacles that are different from what they're doing. There's been a lot online, there's been a lot not face to face, there's not a lot of resilience, there's a lot of things that they're not all about. But I think that there is some hesitancy to participate because you haven't much practice. I think failure feels really comfortable because everything is new and everything comes
And so I kind of would like to make it for that, you have to take risks and not fail in order to do it. That's important. And so I wonder if you can kind of speak to that. There's been a little bit of I'm an introvert by nature, so it takes a lot of energy for me, to really, make my voice heard, speak up in meetings, so on and so forth. But I practice it. I've been in industry a long time. It's something that I practice. I failed at a lot of stuff, a lot of things. But I think the important thing is what you do and how you learn from it. So the best thing you can do is just try and learn from it. I know it may feel uncomfortable. And Jack spoke about, making sure that you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because you will find that you grow the most in that uncomfortability and learning from things that haven't gone so far. So.
Yeah, I would second that. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I can't tell you the first time that I spoke in front of a group of folks, my entire shirt was completely soaked. So, but no, she's right though. As far as how to, unfortunately, the way the networking world looks now versus what it did 15 years ago when I broke into it, it's a lot different. There isn't as many in-person events. There isn't as many folks that are growing those type of events and meetups in person. Pre-pandemic, now you have the pandemic that adds on to it. But what I say to that is the opportunities that do come about, maximize. Just use them the best that you can, maximize them. Think about if you do go to a networking event, if you can access the list, take a look at the list that's going to be there. Take a look at the companies that are going to be there, research the companies, for a fact that, yeah, that's a company I'm really interested in. Try and do some research, use LinkedIn. If everybody doesn't know what LinkedIn is, get familiar with it because you should use it quite a bit when you get into corporate America. But this is kind of a time where you're going to have to think outside the box in order to reach folks because unfortunately, those opportunities aren't there that once were 15 years ago. So how do you do that? Well, LinkedIn is one. Even though it's virtual, you can turn virtual into something that's not, because I'll give you an example of how I use LinkedIn. I will reach out to 10 people and set up 5 meetings, spread it over a month, and I haven't met a single person, and it probably took maybe 15 minutes of my time. And again, it's one of those things of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah, people are going to tell you to, hang up on you or whatever the case is, but that's how you grow your network. That's how you get in front of people. Persistence, is going to actually pay off. So I would just say, think outside the box as it relates to this new space that we're in. I know Zoom and Teams meeting, because you guys are probably tired of them, but just like I say, just think outside the box and just use the opportunity that you need to, the resources that are in front of you right now.
So LinkedIn is your best friend. Please make sure you're looking for this stuff before. Feel free to ask us on the connection, we'll be your support. The other thing is, I just facilitated stuff advocacy workshop last week, and talk about, entering the workforce and what does that look like. And I think this goes back to, again, being comfortable with who you are. Using your voice. You have to be comfortable using your voice. I think that's a very big first step. Your voices are beautiful. So they're going to own them. Everyone here has an opportunity. Everyone here brings value. So know your words. Practice using your voice. So if you get home alone, record yourself. I know that sounds crazy right now, but try it. Listen to yourself. But you can just own your voice, the speed of your voice. Until you get comfortable using it, you won't use it no matter what situation you're going through. So we'll try it right now. We'll do this in the empowerment session here. So affirmations are the best way to practice. And it's also empowering you, which is what helping habits get into. Believe me, you're going to run into some obstacles. So remembering your true value is very important. So say, you are capable. I You are worthy. I am worthy. So try practicing that. Do it every so often, once a week, or every morning when you wake up. Believe it's going to make a difference when you start networking and going to in-person events or doing virtual events. Because you're listening to yourself. And although you may not love the sound of your voice, like right now, I think I'm the way I sound. But know that it is a powerful thing. Be comfortable with yourself. I think great. I think that's what I'm going about. This is the TMI question, you know. Here is a.
That's why I changed my age. I wasn't gonna be able to keep up.
So I was going to say to you all, at least in this room, I want you, if any of us walk up to you, to be able to tell us the things that up. But right now, come up, you can say to someone else, I am good at, and it needs not be your mom. Okay, it needs to be a professional, helpful skill. I talk about it. Say, I'm good. That's so important because you have to be able to communicate for people who don't like talking about themselves. That's really challenging or talking about their successes. That's really critical to practice that and talk about what you're good at, being able to communicate, what you do well in and what you're interested in. It really is a muscle and you have to exercise it and practice it because the person that you're talking to won't know it unless you tell them. So that's really critical to really be able to succinctly and to communicate, you know, what you bring to the table, what you can offer, what you're good at.
Ladies, this one's for you. A survey recently done by Indeed luminaries surveyed over 2,000 women, and about over 60% of them said that they don't feel comfortable self-advocating for themselves enough or don't do it at all. So please, being humble is one thing, right? But being able to speak to your strengths and what you provide to the table, please do so. It is not you showing off and bragging or you're bragging right. One thing I recommend is having a brag book. Write down in a notebook what you're doing, what you're good at. As you start working at a new company or your first company, write your achievements throughout the year. So when it comes time to performance evaluation, you have your book handy. And these are facts, this is data. It's not you trying to make up some story of what you're good at, what you did. It's literal, it's factual. So just keep that in mind. A brag book, it makes a difference. I'm gonna open it up for questions. I'm gonna ask you have a question. They all. There's three more questions. What personal action would you think would be most first? What action have you personally taken to be more generous? For me personally, it's networking. It's talking to people, whether it's at my company. I work for a consulting firm, so we have a lot of different clients that are in a lot of different industries. So you get to learn a lot of different things. But along the way, you get to meet new personalities, different mindsets. The other thing that I recommend is there are so many different personalities that are sold online. Usually companies that you join will have some sort of personality assessment. So for example, Accenture people will use this. And there's so many others out there, but it gives you a common language. So when you start collaborating and working with folks that aren't the same, you get to learn more about how you work as a person, but then also get to learn a little bit more about how you understand other people. So just trying to again understand how you work best and then talking with people and finding those opportunities. It's what I've done personally and it's been super helpful.
So, yeah, I agree on some of those personnel, we use a tool called Insight, and so we have one of the colors, we have the groups, and everyone talks about the cohorts, and, and so, yeah, you understand, you know, how to communicate with people, but for me personally, outside of that, in terms of diversity, it really is, reaching out to, other colleagues who I know, don't think like me, to run some ideas past them to really get their perspective in terms of diversity of thought. In terms of furthering my understanding in terms of inclusion, it's a lot of, reading, it's taking training courses, it's really listening, it's developing my skill set on when I get those diverse perspectives, how can I ensure that they're being included? So diversity without inclusion, they have to go hand in hand to really understand this. So.
I'd say for me, being more diverse kind of just landed in my lap, if that makes any sense. So, when I first, my entry level job at Regis Bank, I was like, I'll just be candid. I was the only black person in the room, in a room full of white people. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was coming, picking orders at Ship's Warehouse. So I had no idea what I was doing, but, the manager that hired me at the time was a white man, and he believed in me. I'm glad to say 17 years later, that guy's still my best friend. But it was weird because what I did for myself personally on being more diverse is I was willing to be open. I was willing to be open to receive new people in my life, new ideas, learn new techniques, learn new things. Being willing to just receive things because I was new to all this, but it was weird because like even though I was the only African American man in the room, surrounded, they never made me feel like I was out of place or anything. And those guys are still today, my best friends. And so being open with that, but also networking as well. That was something that was instilled in me very early in my career. From a mentor that I didn't even realize would even become my mentor. She became my mentor and still networking in me at a very young age. And again, started talking about diversity and inclusion. So somebody else that basically instilled that with me at a very young age of my career. And just rinse and repeat. And she instilled that, I want to say in like 2007. And here we are 15 years later. Best thing I could have did. So just being open and receptive to diverse and inclusive ideas is probably something that I would say what they be more diverse and being intentional about it within the workplace. So taking what you learned at those other companies and some of these other organizations that learn practices that and taking those back to your respective workplace, sharing it with your peers, and hoping they can adopt those things. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Everyone should give themselves a pat on the back if you showed up today. So you're building yourself awareness in it. So make sure you're asking about those DEI initiatives wherever you go. Find those groups that you're participating in and you build yourself awareness in this space. And we understand that. But I think that listening is a really important process. And I think that just looking out others, we have the opportunity to them. So so many of our students come from backgrounds that are not particularly inclusive of one another. And so we still have people that continue to have lots and lots of chances to get to know other people. At one of our etiquette vendors, she said the purpose of networking is to find out what you have in common, not what you can do about. So I think that's a really important skill to cultivate. So any other student has some other questions? when I saw Jasmine saying, I was finished 10 years ago. And so being that I was a hospital and I get we started developing skills very long. Don't see that as well at that time. So being a officer in the organization, we engage. Her email also has one sentence. I can say. You can come on my wall. You need to be careful. All right, so some of you really good jobs. So read your lot of theory, I decided to talk very cool, and then you get out there, and then you have to do something different when you get to the job, or you find out you're really good people and you sort of become it. So, do you want to talk about that? Your degree is part of your toolkit. It's not a representation of who you are and what you can do. The experience that you're going to go through, and the experiences, I should say, that's going to lead up to what you're passionate about and what you want to do. I started off in the job development, and I haven't touched code in several years now. But it taught me a good experience. It taught me how to talk to the technology lingo. It taught me how to be what they would have on those structures. I don't know what that is. But it helped me transition from technology to business. And then I found a passion for marketing and so on and so on. So again, the degree is going to be part of your toolkit. Don't be afraid to go away from what you actually graduated school with. If you find another passion, utilize what you learned in your classes, because you will be able to do that. I know a lot of conversations I've had with professors here that I'm still taking into account when I'm in my everyday role. So just remember that the degree does not make who you are, it's only the beginning of it.
No, I would totally agree with that. I've taken many different pivots in my career. From starting in an entry level position in distribution, working up to leadership, and I moved to individual contributor position and human resources, and organizations. And then I decided that I wanted to learn more about the business from a strictly a customer facing aspect to really understand our customers. So I took ownership of the customer service group as a manager. I knew nothing about customer service, right? But I was able to leverage the leadership skills and the background that I had learned to be able to lead this group. And I went into it understanding I'm not the expert. The people who are sitting in the seat are the experts. How can I leverage them and develop their talent? And so, as part of my career growth and my career journey, I became involved in different employee resource groups, helping to either co-found them, working on other DEI initiatives, working in the commercial space. And so, late last year, I decided to, the opportunity became available to take on a new role, again, a big pivot for me, to move it more fully as on a full-time basis to the United States. However, one of the reasons I was selected for the position is because of my business background and kind of understand that we really wanted to deeply embed D&I into our business. They understood that they needed to have someone that had business experience, who could talk the same language, who could understand the challenges that business leaders have. And so I bring that business knowledge into my day-to-day work. So absolutely, your degree does not define you. It really is a toolkit. It's a basis of knowledge that you can draw from.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of those two as well. A degree just gets you a seat at the table. Yeah, and I'm not downplaying it at all, because the work that you all are doing is fantastic. So I don't want you to think I'm downplaying that. It's a hard piece of paper to earn. You should be proud when you do earn it. But don't think that, like Victor said, don't think that just because my degree was business administration and marketing, and there's no marketing. I'm just making it finance. So, but I will say that my degree got me in the door. Actually, it was the career fair at SIU campus that got me my entry-level job over at the Battle of Data Center. Did I butcher it? Not always good. But yeah, so it was there that I got my first, entry level job, and it was so crazy because they were hiring for a Regis bank over here in Illinois. I live in St. Louis, and so just ironically, the HR person called over to St. Charles. They just happened to have an opening, they wanted me over there, so that's how I actually got my career started, was from a career fair at SIUE. Spent a lot of time in retail, but I would say where my career pivot was at when I realized that I was more of the person that liked to be, first of all, an extrovert one, but I was more of the person that liked to be more mission driven based as far as my work goes. And I started to be conflicted as it related to some of the decisions that I was being pushed into as far as in retail and commercial living and business banking. And you start seeing some of the things that I talk about today as far as practices that have been put in place for decades that is basically systemic racism. And it doesn't support diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially inclusive. There's minorities that historically been locked out of a lot of programs for decades. So when I kind of started seeing some of these things just in the background, that's when I really wanted to get into more mission-driven based work. So I'd say that pivot probably for me came about midpoint in my career. And I guess when it clicks with you, when you know, like, okay, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, that way you're going to start just tooling, you're going to start calling all the plays and the audibles to make sure that you actually get there. Luckily, I'm blessed to have landed in a position that is my passion, that it doesn't feel like work. So I would just say that, it's a glorious feeling when you do reach that. And there will be a pivot at some point in your young careers. Just recognizing when you do, that's not nothing to be scared of. That's that part of getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, because that could be the call.
And all of those things. Anybody else that wants to do? We're gonna be, unfortunately, I need to wrap this up because we're getting close to the time frame. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, well, all not for a minute, because maybe want to comment and some which are more encouraged and welcome to do that. And as I said, Brenda understands, Brenda, Amanda, and me, and all of us, and we'll all help you go that process that we do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Regis, and I'm the student school business, doing MBA in California. I have a token of appreciation for school business. They have done such a wonderful job for the perspectives on our student, basically absorbing about that state for that. And just bringing all the perspectives and doing such a great service, such a community. So if you join me in a round of applause. I'd like to thank our faculty and staff for organizing the event, especially for the school business for the funding of the breakfast panel. I also like to thank the Diversity and Inclusion Committee for its contributions toward diversity. And last but not least, the students that woke up early this morning to attend the program, shout out to you guys. We may be catching up on some sleep right now, but we're truly glad to have you join us today. Especially to our business students, because I was in their shoes last year, and as much learning as we do inside the classroom, there's also a lot of room outside the classroom. So we appreciate all the contributions and that of the business students. This concludes, the breakfast on my panel, and I want to bring up our maybe close it off. So thank you, everyone. And thank you.
And we will be heading over to the other side of the ballroom for our next session, which will be with, Chancellor Colorado about information versus equity inclusion leadership certificate. Everyone's welcome to the team, but strongly encourage you to attend as, that you can actually have, a presentation of your degree or when you graduate with that, so it's good to find out some of the details. And following that, we'll actually have our morning keynote address, using public scholarship to educate, advocate, and liberate by our very own faculty member, Dr. Regis. So again, there's, a little bit of time in between, but we're going to get started on 10:30 next door. And with that, thank you. One more round of applause for,